All right, we got a couple different combine topics to dive into, but G, you started with the offensive lineman at the combine, and I want to dive in on that first because I kind of have a differing opinion to what you said on the fact that you think tackle is out of play now for the Browns. Titus Howard has played right tackle. He's played right guard. There is only one guy, really two, but one guy at number 6 that is a traditional, unquestioned, undeniable left tackle. When you look at the top tackles on the board, Spencer Fano is a right tackle. Caleb Lomu from Utah, he has played left tackle, but is not projected to go anywhere near the top 10. Caden Proctor played left tackle, not necessarily a guy considered that high for the Browns. Mauigoa, right tackle, guard, you can make the decision. And then the guy you see next, Monroe Freeling from Georgia, has only played left tackle, is a traditional left tackle. If you look at his RAS score, and Steve, if you want to take tag board full, he ranked out as the just flat out disgustingly good in terms of the RAS score, the relative athletic score. He's the third highest out of 1,500 graded tackles they've ever had at the combine. Fits all the physical makeups, the height, the size, the weight, the arm length, et cetera, et cetera. I think it takes him out of the play for right tackle. I certainly think they're still in play for a left tackle. But, G, I'll let you start on this one again because you mentioned Mauigoa a second ago. He measured in at pure tackle size. Freeling measured in at gigantic tackle size. You think because of this trade they're more off the board than before, or do you still think they could be in play for the Browns as they look to continue to fill out the offensive?
No, I think Freeling is definitely going to be a late first-round pick. I think he was borderline to me, but I think that when you look at Proctor, I think now that there's people that would likely have him above Proctor at tackle. When you take a look at what he was able to do, 6'7", long arms, ran tremendously well. He's one of the best pass blockers. The problem is he's not a great, he's not going to deliver a lot of movement up front. But when you look at Fano and when you look at this young man, there's a difference between, you look at Fano, and the thing that gets me with him is he's slight of build in his lower body. Like they got him listed at about 310, but he just looks like, he looks like when I'm watching him play, he's 285. Now, he is aggressive when it comes to him coming off the football, but sometimes he's over-aggressive a little bit, and there are times where, he can get overextended a little bit. But the problem is with Fano as well, he doesn't get much movement. He's more of a position blocker where he's just going to look to get on the outside of you and just stay in this gap. He's not going to be a guy that you look to, hey, it's 4th and 1, let's run behind him and get 2 yards. That's not what's going to happen. He's more of a position blocker. So to me, in my opinion, it's not a great tackle class. But when you look at this guy, when you look at Freeling, I think he's moved himself in a position because he is a very good pass blocker, because he does do a really good job, and he plays in the SEC, and he's gone against some of the elite pass rushers. I do believe that he's moved himself into the late first round. And then the guard, I think there's a chance a guard does go. The guard from Penn State, what is Olavioga? What is his name? How you pronounce his name?
Mauigoa?
No. The kid, the Penn State guard, starts with an O.
Olu.
I'm
just calling him Olu.
Oh, okay, we go Olu, right? Y'all got to come out and give us these pronanciations earlier, bro. I don't know, this is crazy, but
I think there's one on the NFL website.
Yeah, I got to check that out.
NFL website has one for the draft prospect.
I think he's a guard. I think he's the best guard by far. And I actually think that he'll go in the first round. But McNuggets, if they do find a guy that they like, I like the Dunker kid from Iowa. He's not much of an athlete.
Did you see his 40?
Yeah, he was running. Did you see his hair?
Yeah, well, I saw somebody on social media put his 40 with Freebird and said these two were just meant to go together. Because when you hear, and it was in slow motion, but when you hear Freebird with his hair flying and the look on his face, you're like, that's not wrong.
Hey, I like him a lot. He's a mauler. I like him at guard, but yeah, I think I don't know if I like anybody that high in the first part of this draft, but I think Freeling will definitely go first round.
I'm leery of the workout warriors, the guys.
We talked about that Friday, yeah.
And you guys remember Vernon Golston, right?
Yeah, we mentioned him. Yeah.
He was a guy that everybody said, oh, He'll tear it up at the next level.
He was supposed to be Myles Garrett, right?
He was supposed to be.
Then,
he was like a top 5 pick. Oh my God! When you looked at him, it was
smuggling
like
pumpkins.
He's not a human being.
Yeah.
He came out of a laboratory. I think it was the 6th pick.
I covered him at Ohio State. That's what I was covering.
Yes,
I was Ohio State
and I was very familiar with him from Ohio State as well. And then something happened, man. He literally might have invented looks like Tarzan plays like Jane, because it didn't take him long. And there's been other guys like that. You guys probably won't remember, but Tony Mandrich is a guy. Mandrich was an absolute can't miss, humongous human being that when you watched him do all of his physical drills, you said, oh, this guy will be the gold standard for years in the NFL. And he didn't make it. And there are a lot of other examples like that.
There are a few that have panned out, though.
What's that?
There are a few that have looked like physical specimens who have panned out.
At that position, I think the hit rate is much higher at that position than maybe any other position.
At tackle?
Well, just because
busted tackles can play guard usually.
Yes, you can. Like if you're a bust,
you get something out of them.
Yes, there's somewhere you can move them and get some value out of them. And also, they usually have to raise to such a level of greatness, like Joe Thomas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you're not taking Joe Thomas in the top 3 unless you absolutely know.
Yeah,
and so I think the bust rate at that position, that high, is actually fairly low. It might be the lowest amongst all positions. And that's subjective too, because what's a bust?
What's a bust?
But to your point, and this is where I was going too, if you bust out at tackle, we can move you. Maybe you're a right tackle, maybe you're a guard, so there's flexibilities and there's layers that you can fall down and still have a long, productive, successful career. So I don't know what I'm looking for to the extent that you do when I look at tape. I watch these tapes. To me, you know what? We're seeing highlights. Mm-hmm. They all look great.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the highlights. Give me 20 random plays.
The lowlights.
Give me 20 random plays, and maybe he'll look great, and maybe he won't. But to me, when I'm on YouTube and I'm searching for X players' highlights, I'm like, I'll draft that guy this second. Yeah. And I think that's what the Browns are doing too.
And then you look at the next one and go, give me him too. And
yes.
Give me him too.
Because they're highlights.
You're right.
So give me their random plays. Give me their, there are analytics, the grade rates and all of that. But be wary of the workout warriors and the guys that just make your eyes fall out of your head. But then the tape doesn't always follow through.
Jason, I'd be interested to talk to their scouting department in the front office to see what their philosophy is on offensive linemen. Do they have it do they believe that most of these guys, if you coach them up, they can be serviceable? Or do they really believe that there's only a couple of really top-notch tackles, and if you find one of them, you just take them? But other than that, because I watch these guys, there's tackles from Division II schools. You watch these great teams, and you turn the tape on or you watch the TV, and it's Monday Night Football, and they're like, where he come from? Oh, he went to Saginaw State.
Right.
The left tackle is starting. He went from Purdue. I'm like, what?
In the old days, you could get the Jackson States, you could get the Walter Paytons and Jerry Rices, but here's where I'm leery of that today. You could transfer. Why didn't you leave?
Yeah.
Like in the old days, you'd have to sit out a year. Guys weren't willing to do that. And so then, it was the same thing with Steve McNair. They're like, well, I don't know. What kind of competition does Alcorn State really face? I don't know. Joe Flacco experienced that. And so in the old days, I felt there was a calculus to drafting a guy that was one of the smaller divisions. Mm-hmm. Because look, a lot of times guys at 18 can come out and they're tweeners, and then they blossom and they grow and they dominate at North Dakota State because it was too difficult to transfer. But today, I'm looking at all of those really small schools and said, well, wait a minute, why were you still there?
Yeah.
You should have been offered millions. If it was there, you should have been offered millions to go to a Power 5.
That's a fair.
You didn't.
I think that's a fair point. I also think we're so early into this still of NIL that I think these colleges are still trying to figure out what do we need, what do we want, who do we get. So there's always going to be guys who fall through the cracks, always, no matter what. But we can take this. I don't want to get too far off track, but that's what makes recruiting so difficult now. There are no seats at the table for freshmen. You have to be special
really tough.
to get a shot at Ohio State as a freshman now.
Yep.
Because why would Ohio State take a freshman? Why would they burn a spot on a freshman when you can
go get a known commodity?
Go get a transfer.
Man,
Absolutely.
OU. I knew it was a problem. OU had like 20-something transfers, and a lot of these freshmen, I would look at them like, oh man. Usually you don't find them getting a bunch of the guys that's all state or guys that even be all American. Like, wow, this guy from this recruiting site says this dude is a top 10 guy in this position. Well, there's not enough places to go around at the table now. Everything is upperclassmen.
Yeah, it's really changed.
So Kaz Merrick from OU, he went to Ohio State, ran in the combine. He got invited to the combine. He went from OU to Ohio State. And I'm like, wow, like it's crazy that it happens like that. But we'll look at it like this: there's a safety from Toledo that's going to get taken high. There was this corner that was taken from Toledo a couple years ago, and obviously the poster child is Harold Fanning Jr.
Sure,
like shoot,
he could have left. He could have left after his junior year and gone anywhere.
He could have went, but he ended up staying. I'm glad he stayed because we found him. But yeah, I think now. I'd love to be a fly on the wall to see what their board looks like on offensive linemen because I think it's really jumbled together. I don't see anybody really separating themselves too much. So